So the question is, can I use alum stone, alum powder, or alum products to tighten my vagina? What is the virginity stone? Good day, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Gwendolyn Halle, a seasoned medical professional, and I'm popularly known as a medical professional with the difference because I bring you knowledge like no other to the comfort of your living room. If you're a returning subscriber, this is me saying, "Mwah, I love you." Thank you so much for your comments, for your support, for your loyalty. And if you just hopped on this channel, hopped on this video, please do subscribe, like, and share. Join the family. And I love you too. Let's roll in. Welcome back. Into this class, we are going to be talking about the virginity stone, alum stone, that is commonly used for vaginal tightening. Alum stone is an inorganic chemical compound, and it's also known as potassium alum. It's used in cosmetics and it's used in different industries around the world. There are three forms of alum. There's the powder form, there's the stone form or the crystal form, and there's the alum form that is being used in different creams and gels for vaginal tightening and even some pastries as well. So what is it about alum that has made it so popular? Why is it being used in many cultures? Why has it been passed down from generation to generation for the use of vaginal tightening? And it's because of its astringent properties that it causes the walls of the vagina, the tissues of the vagina, to have a tightening sensation, a temporal tightening sensation. That means it doesn't cause the vaginal walls to tighten or to plump up. It just gives it a temporal tightening sensation. That's because of this property it has. And I would like to say this. A lot of people have said scientists can't come up today and tell us what we should do because my forefathers, my grandmother, my great-grandmother used this and we didn't have a problem. Why is it that today we are coming up with a lot of scientific research and scientific studies forbidding us from using the alum stone, from using the alum powder, and from even using products that contain alum for vaginal tightening? And this is why. That's because in those days, research wasn't being done to this extent. Extensive research wasn't done, and sometimes, like in those days where research wasn't being carried out, you may have a granny or your great-grand or some of your ancestors might have used it and had funny discharges and may have had infections, may have had bleeding after sex, and they will attribute this to something else, not using alum. Alum is very dangerous because the particles could be left in your body. And during sex, it may cause a lot of damage to the vaginal walls and the vaginal tissues. So come along with me while I teach you some side effects of using alum. 7 side effects of using alum. Any form of alum, whether it's the powder form, the crystal form, or the stone form, or products that contain alum, creams, pastries, and gels for vaginal tightening that contain alum. Point number 1. Irritations and burning sensation. Now, because there is no control on how much alum you should use in your vagina, most ladies end up with a burning sensation and irritation. In fact, even products for vaginal tightening, the gels, the creams, and the pastries, when used without control or when used without knowing the quantity of alum used to manufacture that product, the lady could actually develop a burning sensation and an irritation. And this irritation could occur around the vulva area and in the vagina. Point number 2, scarring, vaginal scarring. And how does this occur? Due to the tiny microparticles of alum that could be left in the vagina, and also because of the burning sensation and the irritation that occurs while using alum. And during sex, these microparticles could actually form micro openings and cause some tearings on the walls of the vagina. And on the other hand, this burning sensation and irritation could become very sore during sexual intercourse, and it may lead to the tearing of the walls of the vagina during sex. And then the lady may develop micro openings or wounds on her vagina walls. And while the vagina is healing, it may cause scarring on the walls of the vagina. And once a lady develops scarring on the walls of her vagina, sex is no longer pleasurable. And if a lady is prone to keloids, it's even worse. So be careful. Be careful, ladies. Number 3 is eroding the walls of the vagina. And how does this work? When the walls of the vagina are eroded, the flora of the vagina changes, and you are exposed to a lot of microbial infections, particularly bacterial vaginosis, thrush or candida, trichomoniasis, and a lot more. Ladies, hear this. No man loves to sleep with a woman who has smelly vagina, who has discolored or a colored vaginal discharge. So these infections you're going to get from using alum or the virginity stone are going to cause a lot of microbial infections. And when you have these microbial infections, you're going to have itches on your vulva, you're going to have funny smelly discharge, and to some extent you can have fertility issues. You can become infertile because these infections will move from your vagina to your uterus, and you could also have pelvic inflammatory diseases. Please, ladies, be cautious. Be cautious. If you want to tighten your vagina, I did a video on 4 safe methods that you can use to tighten your vagina. And I also did a video on the exercises you can do at home to tighten your vagina. Stuffing alum, that is a chemical compound, into your vagina would destroy your vagina, and in the long run, you would no longer be able to enjoy sexual pleasure or intimacy with your spouse. Point number 4. Remember, I told you that the property of alum is astringent property. It's what gives a temporal tightening sensation. That means that it just gives a feeling that the walls of your vagina are tight. And what is that feeling? It causes an inflammation. An inflammation, either this inflammation could be due to an infection and also because of the eroding or the burning sensation of that chemical compound, alum, in the vagina. So when you experience this inflammation or this temporal tightening sensation, as I would call it, if you are about to give birth, you may end up having vaginal tears. That means it may be very difficult for you to give birth through your vagina, and you may end up giving birth through C-section, and that will cost you more money. So it's important that you should put this in your mind. Put this in your mind before you ever think of using alum or continuing to use alum. Number 5 is permanent damage of the vaginal walls. And this is how it happens. Since there is no permanent tightening, there is only a temporal tightening sensation that you get because of the inflammation that occurs due to an infection or a form of eroding or burning sensation caused by this alum, this burning caused by this alum. So what happens is, when a lady notices that she doesn't have this fix or this permanent tightening effect that she wants to have, the continuous use of this alum stone or alum powder or alum products actually, in the long run, damages the walls of her vagina. That makes childbirth very difficult, and that makes sex very painful because she'll develop scarring, she'll have constant vaginal infections. And trust me, there'll be no pleasure for you because no man will love to sleep with a woman that is oozing down there, that has a bad smell down there. Number 6 is vaginitis. Vaginitis is actually the inflammation of the walls of the vagina. And this inflammation is caused by an infection. It could be by a virus, by a fungi, by a bacteria. And vaginitis could also be caused by the irritation and the burning sensation by alum. And when this inflammation occurs, this is the effect that makes many women to feel that they have tightened their vagina. And during sex, they will start experiencing pain during sex because the walls of the vagina are eroding or are under some form of irritation. And during sex, if there's not a lot of lubrication, she will start to bleed during sex and experience vaginal tearing, which may lead to scarring in her vagina. And the last point is vaginal dryness. This is another point that makes a lot of we females feel that alum tightens the vagina, because you feel that when you are dry, and you feel a little bit inflamed around that area, you have tightened your vagina, and that is not true. Vaginal dryness is so bad. It is so bad. It makes sex unpleasurable for you and also for your spouse. So ladies, before you start using alum or continue using alum, please think about the points I have given you. Think about your health. Think about your sexual pleasure and the pleasure of your spouse. The truth is, alum is not a good solution to tightening your vagina, because anything that will destroy the flora of your vagina and cause you to constantly be having funny discharges or smelly discharges, or may in the long run cause infertility, pain during sex, and bleeding after sex, is not worth it. So thank you for joining me in today's class. Till next time. Bye-bye.